This is a production of Florida State University.
Coming up on FSU Headlines, we'll hear Maura's voice. We head to the coast where the project to revive Apalachicola Bay is underway. And we'll see how much Dance Marathon at FSU raised for the kids. Stay tuned. FSU Headlines starts now. Hello and welcome to another edition of FSU Headlines and to the beautiful campus of Florida State University here in Tallahassee. I'm your host, Dennis Schnitker. In our top headline this month, we head to the State Capitol Complex just a few blocks from where I stand. That's where Florida State University officials joined with the family of an FSU student to announce a new research effort examining the intersecting issues of hatred, violence, mental health, and gun safety.
Good morning. We're here to officially and publicly launch Maura's Voice. Our goal is to foster positive cultural change so that we can effectively address the entirely unacceptable epidemic levels of violence in our society.
Brought everybody together, brought policy leaders together, brought policy researchers together, and it gave the institution of Florida State University the opportunity to say, we care about this kind of thing for our students and others in our state, and we're going to do everything we can to find some answers.
As a major research university, FSU can do its part by examining the root causes of violence, especially violence against women, so that we can better find solutions and create a safer environment for everyone.
This is where we acknowledge the line between normal and unacceptable, and where we listen for the inevitable presence of Maura's voice, to summon the courage to turn her and our imagination of an accepting and nonviolent world into reality.
So I'm proud to be a part of it. We're proud to be a part of it. And I know that Dean Clark and his team are going to do a great job and determine what some of the issues are that the legislature perhaps could adopt. And hopefully we'll have some good policy as a result of all of it that would honor Maura and honor Maura's voice.
Maura represented the very, very best of Florida State University, as you've heard. She was an excellent student, and most importantly, she was determined to make the world a better place.
Student Maura Binkley and FSU professor Dr. Nancy Van Vessem were both murdered during a shooting at a Tallahassee yoga studio in November of 2018. We miss them both dearly. Over at the FAMU-FSU College of Engineering, the college and the United States Air Force Research Laboratory is celebrating a new partnership. It's a collaboration that will help students at the FAMU-FSU College of Engineering advance their education and skills. The college, along with researchers and engineers from Eglin Air Force Base here in Florida, are starting a new partnership to train undergraduate students in areas critical to the U.S. Air Force, thanks to a $400,000 grant.
This exciting project integrates research and education and training. And I think what the Eglin Air Force Base and the Munitions Directorate of AFRL are recognizing also is the unique diversity of this college.
We're very excited about this opportunity for your help, both from our research perspective here, but the help that the student pipeline is going to provide to us in AFRL, and particularly the Munitions Directorate at Eglin Air Force Base. So thank you very much.
Both the grant and the partnership aim to propel STEM research. In other FSU news, a Florida State University College of Nursing professor is investing her time in health research to help people in underserved and rural populations. Assistant Professor Lori Abbott sees a disparity in the health of urban and rural populations, and not just available health services in communities. Abbott sees a lack of knowledge about how to stay healthy.
I found that in my 25 years of nursing practice, working with people, that some people don't have the skills and the knowledge they need to stay well and avoid illness. So then they keep coming back into the hospital and with initial diagnoses and exacerbation of existing conditions. And so it's a real problem. My strategies that I use, I go out into the rural community and I teach people who are at risk for poor health outcomes, about strategies for making sure they stay well and reduce disease risk factors, especially those related to cardiovascular disease, such as eating a healthy diet, exercising regularly, and managing conditions such as diabetes and hypertension that would increase somebody's risk for developing heart disease.
Abbott conducted a study of 229 African Americans from churches in 2 rural North Florida counties. 115 of the participants received a 6-week curriculum developed by the National Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute. The other group did not. After she finished the study, Abbott found significant improvements in food-related behaviors associated with cardiovascular health. And you can read more about her study at news.fsu.edu. With the help of research-based learning strategies, a Florida State University center is helping faculty engage students. The Center for the Advancement of Teaching, commonly known here as CAT for short, started its mission to help instructors develop more learning-centered experiences for students. The goal is to produce the best college experience for both the student and the instructor.
So not only do we support faculty teaching and assist them in doing this really, really difficult work, but we also want to bring teaching and learner-centeredness sort of more to the forefront. So high-ranked universities, of course, are really, really proud of their research, and the research here is incredible. But I think that it's equally important that we value and we reward excellent teaching, which is just as difficult. And that, I think the aspirations should be just as high.
In our next headline, FSU presents an honorary doctorate to a well-known Panhandle resident. It's an award reserved for a select few, as Florida State University bestows an honorary Doctor of Humane Letters degree to prominent Florida businessman, former Speaker of the Florida House of Representatives, and former Chairman of the FSU Board of Trustees, Alan Bentz.
When I think about our state and I think about our university, obviously the state of Florida is better because of Alan Bentz. Florida State University is better because of Alan Bentz. But more than that, every individual, including yours truly, that's ever had meaningful contact with Alan Bentz is a better human being because of that contact.
At the end of the day, when you make other people successful in life, I don't care if it's in your personal life, your business life, you'll be successful. It's an honor to receive this degree, and to everyone who's been a role model to me over the years, I'm so grateful, and thank you very much, Mr. President.
At the end of their 4th year, medical students throughout the country learn which residency programs they'll join for the next phase in their medical training. It happens during the time-honored tradition known as Match Day. FSU Headlines reporter Kadeja Eliatson was there for FSU's Match Day and has that story.
Today is Match Day 2019 for the class of FSU College of Medicine.
Match Day is a national day where 19,000 students from 145 medical schools around the country find out where they will be matched for 3 to 5 years of residential training. Here at Florida State, Match Day is always exciting and fun.
It's basically the biggest second day after my marriage and being born, so I've been waiting for it for a long time. 9 years of school, a lot of loans, a lot of scholarships, tons of hard work, all comes down to today.
Students have an envelope and they open it in either their chairs or on stage to see where they will be starting their careers as physicians.
This is what they've been working on for 4 years now. They came to medical school, they've worked hard, 2 years at the main campus, 2 years out in their regional campuses.
The future physicians apply for residency all across the nation, from Harvard, California, and even locally. FSU medical student Brianna Walters applied to 3 different medical schools, but her heart is set for Tallahassee Memorial Healthcare.
I want to stay here at TMH Family Medicine. We really like Tallahassee, and I think it's a great program here. We are doing family medicine, and we're staying right here at Tallahassee.
For one student, his journey to practicing internal medicine stems from his own battle with cancer.
February 2nd, 2011, I was diagnosed with stage 3B Hodgkin's lymphoma. Going through that experience actually helped me to have more empathy for my patients. I was able to empathize with them more, be more compassionate to their care. And I think that really showed in my rotations. I got inducted into the Gold Humanism Honor Society because of that as well.
But Florida State has given him and others the skills they'll need to persevere and keep striving toward success. For these future doctors, this is not the end, but the beginning to the next step on their journey. For Florida State Headlines, I am Kadesha Eliotson.
All right, thank you, Kadesha, for that report. And you can see the list of all the matches at med.fsu.edu. Giving back is something Florida State University students and alumni do in a variety of ways, but one special way they choose to donate is through FSU's Great Give. The 36-hour online giving campaign allows friends, alumni, faculty, and staff another opportunity to make a difference in students' lives. The Great Give helps fund many academic initiatives, programs, and even special projects at Florida State University. FSU highlights all the projects on its Spark FSU crowdfunding website. This year, the goal was to raise $500,000 in 36 hours. And if you'd like to learn more about FSU's Great Give, you can check it out online at greatgive.fsu.edu. Well, still to come on FSU Headlines, we'll head down to the Gulf and the FSU Coastal and Marine Laboratory.
What we're trying to do is to restore the ecology and the ecosystem services that provides, not just bring back the oyster fisheries.
FSU is leading the way on a long-term project to revive Apalachicola Bay. That story is next when FSU Headlines continues in a moment.
We are Florida State University.
When you buy a Florida State University license plate,
you're not just showing your school spirit.
You're supporting students like us.
In the lab,
in the classroom,
and in the library.
Putting this tag on your vehicle helps Florida State students achieve their dreams. So show your pride. Purchase an FSU license plate today.
Welcome back to FSU Headlines. I'm Dennis Schnitker, enjoying a beautiful spring day here on the Florida State University main campus. But next, we take a trip down to the Gulf and the FSU Coastal and Marine Laboratory, home base for an important new long-term research project focused on repairing and restoring Apalachicola Bay. FSU Headlines reporter Mark Vaughn sat down with the project leaders to talk about its impact.
So we're here at the FSU Coastal and Marine Lab to talk about a pretty special initiative that's going to be starting up pretty soon. Talk to me a little bit about the Apalachicola Bay System Initiative. What is that? What does it mean for the Coastal and Marine Lab here?
The Apalachicola Bay System Initiative, as the name suggests, is focused on Apalachicola Bay and some of the ecological issues associated with that. But it also includes areas to the east and west of the bay, because the bay doesn't operate in isolation. So we're expanding beyond that to look at how the other nearshore coastal areas are connected to the bay and those ecological processes. So the initiative is three primary components. The first will be to do a thorough assessment of the conditions in the bay based on historical literature and more contemporary data, to try and sort out where we are. Various things have changed over time. The hydrodynamic regime has changed. Some of the communities and the fishery has changed. So we need to first establish what we're dealing with right now. The second part will be a series of scientific questions to try and fill some information gaps and address some of the unknown questions that we have. The data from that scientific inquiry will be incorporated into various different types of models that the stakeholders can use. And then the final part will be the development of a management plan, a sustainable management plan for the bay, and a restoration initiative.
obviously the end result would be to try and bring it back to its former glory, if you will, but why is it so integral here?
As you will have noticed, this area is one of the least developed in the state of Florida, and that contributes to its beauty and its attraction. The downside of that is that the industry here is somewhat limited. Apalachicola Bay and this area in general has long been focused on the water, the fisheries and anything to do with the water. And so now that we have a crisis in the fishery in Apalachicola Bay, that creates an economic crisis for the people that depend upon it. This fishery has been operating for over 100 years. There are generations of fishermen that are invested not only in the fishery but in this area. Their families have been raised here. It's culturally important to them. And so this isn't just a fishery, it's a way of life.
How does an initiative like this, a long-term project, how does it complement what you already do here?
What the scientists do here is it covers a wide range of topics. I work on hard grounds and benthic communities. One of our other faculty members works on fish and sharks. And so we have a range of skills that we can apply. Now, the Apalachicola Bay oyster fishery is extremely important, but the oysters are a keystone species. What that means is that when the oysters go away, the ecology of the system changes. So what we're trying to do is to restore the ecology and the ecosystem services that provides, not just bring back the oyster fishery. So that's what we do. We do science, we do research that informs policy management and conservation.
The scientists here at the FSU Coastal and Marine Lab are uniquely equipped to take on a long-term project like this. And through this initiative, they'll be adding to the staff and expanding their capabilities here.
The Marine Lab, again, because of its history, has spent a lot of time in Apalachicola. We have expertise in vertebrate ecology, in ecosystems, and in policy that I think puts us in a really good position to move forward with this project. But it also gives us the opportunity to expand our intellectual capacity, if you will. We'll be hiring new faculty members, technicians, graduate students will be involved, and there are a number of faculty that we've spoken to across campus who, while they won't be paid on this initiative, are already writing and thinking about proposals they'll work that'll interact quite nicely with the work that we've proposed.
We do need to get the model sorted to address that particularly. As the Coastal and Marine Lab faculty are not only focused on doing rigorous science, we very strongly feel that our science should be integrated into management, made useful. And so we're well placed, I think, both philosophically and geographically to try and address some of these problems. We work in the nearshore here, we also work offshore, but we have scientists' capacity and facilities that some of the other state and federal agencies may not have. And so I think we're well placed not to take over and supplant what is already being done, but to complement it and fill some of the information gaps.
There are so many people that have lived here, they've raised families here, we've talked about that a little bit, and the oyster fishery is such an integral part of life here, if you will. For you, as a scientist, how important is it to be able to hopefully help and bring something that is so integral to this area back to life?
Well, helping the ecosystem will help the economy, which will help the people. And so that's what our role as scientists can be, is trying to restore the foundation of their economy. And I don't want to see this area turn into the rest of Florida with strip malls and condos and hotels. I like it the way it is, and that for it to stay that way, it has to maintain at least a good part of the historical culture.
This is going to go on long into the future. This grant is for 5 years, but the university is committed to keep going. I see the lab being involved for at least 20 years, if not perpetually.
To read more about this project, visit news.fsu.edu. And still to come on FSU Headlines, we'll take a look back at a memorable month of March for Seminole men's and women's basketball. And we'll catch up with FSU softball as they continue to defend their national title. That's coming up next on FSU Headlines. Welcome back to FSU Headlines in the beautiful campus of Florida State University. I'm Dennis Schnitker. Spring has sprung, and so has the spring sports at Florida State. Great time to be a Seminole athletics fan. Mark Vaughn rejoins us now with his look at sports. Hey, Mark.
Hey, Dennis, it is certainly a great time of year for FSU sports fans with pretty much everything going on. On the hoops court, both the men's and women's basketball teams making the big dance, and on the men's side, it was an inspired effort that led to some great play and taking the team back to the Sweet 16 against a familiar opponent in Gonzaga. The Noles winning their first round game against Vermont 76-69, and then it was into a second round matchup with Murray State, which they take home 90-62 in blowout fashion. That took the team to the West Coast in the Sweet 16 rematch with Gonzaga. But unlike 2018, the Noles can't get it done. They don't get it going early and often and fall in a tough one, 72-58 to end the season. That ends the Noles record at 29-8, the best record they've had. Add into that an appearance in the ACC Tournament Championship game, and what a season it was. There's much to look forward to for this group. Even losing some key seniors to graduation shouldn't keep the Noles from showing up again next year. Move over to the other hoop squad and a younger women's basketball team in the tournament as well for Coach Sue. This team looking for youthful energy to get them past a couple of good teams as a 5 seed. In the first round, it's a 3-point nail-biter against Bucknell to keep the Noles moving forward, but it was not to be this year as they fall to a talented South Carolina team 72-64 in the second round. But like the men's squad, this team with much to look forward to as they have no seniors on the squad and bring in a great recruiting class yet again. Watch out for them in 2019-2020. On to baseball and the last season for the legend and winningest NCAA baseball coach Mike Martin. Certainly some pressure on this season, but also that feeling of fun too. The Noles starting the year strong with some hiccups along the way. Of course, the ACC going to be tough yet again. When is it not? But FSU looking up to the test this year. Through March, the Noles 18-9 with some big wins over the likes of NC State and Notre Dame in the ACC. Add in some tough losses to those same squads and Florida, and you've got room for improvement with some lessons learned. The Noles will power through the month of April with big ACC series games against Miami on the road and Clemson to get the latter part of this final season for Coach underway. Over to the softball field and the defending national champions with some different fortune in their defending season so far. March looking like the foreshadowing the team would love for later this year. They're hitting on all cylinders, literally. The team going 35-3 through the month of March with no hitters, blowouts, and clutch wins alike. This team looking pretty special so far. The pitching squad being led by senior Megan King, but hitters giving the team plenty of big leads along the way too. April will be chock full of big matchups in the ACC, playing against UNC, Duke, and of course the Florida Gators, all on the slate. For more, visit Seminoles.com. And last but certainly not least, some FSU student athletes made a special trip to Panama City to lend a helping hand in the recovery efforts after Hurricane Michael. 3 FSU athletes from the area led a group of 34 teammates and friends to the area to help spend a day cleaning up and helping where they could. That's going to do it for sports, but remember, you can keep up with all things Seminole athletics by visiting Seminoles.com. Dennis, back to you.
All right, thanks for that update, Mark. And our final headline today, we hit the dance floor. Florida State students get down for a good cause during the annual dance marathon at FSU. Watch this.
Congratulations on being invited to Florida State University's 24th annual dance marathon.
Dance marathon at Florida State
is a year-long movement culminating into a weekend event where it is 40 hours that our internal members are standing on their feet.
You see people like walk in here after opening ceremonies, like they stand up, they're hyped, they're feeling it, they're loving it. Like that energy just continues for all 40 hours of the weekend. You see it like just never die. The dancing symbolizes a lot of these kids are like they're sick and like they can't stand for as long as we can normally. They can't like do all these like regular things that we take for granted every single day. So we stand for those that can't. And like the dancing is like a way to celebrate. Like we dance until we can find a cure. That way, once the cure is found, we can dance to celebrate.
We can never stop because these children don't have a cure. So I would say that's what we're looking for as we're continuing our efforts throughout the years.
I was looking up at the stage, I see Thrasher, like up there, just like killing it on the stage.
President Thrasher's involvement and to have his support means the world because you don't really have that at every campus.
Like it shows like how not only how important this cause is, but like how like this cause like ties everyone together.
What you're doing by giving back your time and your energy and your passion and your love for these young people is truly making a difference in this world.
This event has like changed my life. It's been like one of the biggest things in my college experience, and it's just like it's shaped who I am today, and I honestly would not change that for the world.
Dance Marathon is Florida State's largest student-run philanthropy and has raised millions of dollars for the Children's Miracle Network, Shands Children's Hospital, and the FSU College of Medicine. Well, that's going to do it for this edition of FSU Headlines, but you can see more news from Florida State University anytime online at news.fsu.edu. It's the official news website of Florida State University. For everyone here at Florida State University, I'm Dennis Schnitker. Thanks for joining us today. We'll see you next time.